Oh, no, we're not. Have we started yet?
Not really, but kind of, yes.
Oh.
So,
All right. We're just waiting for you.
This is why I feel like I get caught every time.
you do.
We're waiting for some good bloopers.
This is why you're the blooper reel, Douglas.
I'm not saying anything else.
Let's go!
Welcome to CabCast, your trusted companion for exploring the cutting edge of agriculture, from the field to the lab and everywhere in between. Brought to you by Virginia Cooperative Extension and the Eastern Shore Agricultural Research and Extension Center, this podcast is rooted in science, innovation, and community. Whether you're a seasoned farmer, an aspiring agriculturalist, or simply curious about the forces shaping our food systems, CabCast is your go-to source for timely insights, expert advice, and practical knowledge, all conveniently delivered on the go. Join us as we dig into the latest trends, groundbreaking research, and real-world applications that are transforming agriculture on the Eastern Shore and beyond.
Welcome to podcast. Thank you for joining us. My name is Teresa Pittman, Agriculture Extension Agent for Accomack County.
I'm Helen Dowdy, Northampton County Extension Agent.
I'm Kemper Sutton, entomologist at the Eastern Shore AREC.
I'm Doug Higgins, plant pathologist at the Eastern Shore AREC.
I'm Vijay Singh, weed scientist at Eastern Shore AREC.
And Mark Ryder, Soils and Nutrient Management Extension Specialist here at the Eastern Shore AREC.
So have you guys heard anything insect-wise? I know y'all were gone, but it's
that typical time of year where they are in the tractor. They're harvesting. They're getting things in the ground.
I did check my traps Thursday, and we're getting some beet armyworm.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think one trap had something like 40 or whatever. Anyway, it's just,
Where was that
it
one?
seems a little
Do
early.
you remember?
I want to say it
It's
was
in
in
the
Match
stalk.
Bungo.
It's going to be in the store.
That's going to be in the stalk.
It's gonna be in the stalk.
Well,
Okay.
actually, I emailed it Thursday, and you should have it in your email.
I probably didn't read that email.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
you did.
No.
Can you put that one as the blooper?
You
Is Mark
you
is probably
soil
going to
scientist,
read
you.
that email? Yeah.
I didn't write anything for the stock. I'm so sorry. Last week,
We
Don't
know.
worry,
was
I didn't
potato
write
harvest.
anything either.
We know. And VJ, you could say it. You didn't write anything either.
I send you an email. I say it's very lonely.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
to be honest, it was like World War II potatoes over last week for me. So
Oh, wow, yeah.
it was a crazy
Yeah.
time for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't even look at my emails for most of the week.
Yeah, well, it's that time of year, and I don't think anybody else is looking at their emails. I mean, like farmer-wise.
It's been graded, and it's still even small there and hard to pick of it. So, like, what can happen is that the electronic eye that sorts the
So
snap
I was
beans-
getting ready to say, you've seen it, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
It you can essentially take the knob and crank up the sensitivity and kick out all the small spots. But in the process of doing that, you kick out the healthy beans as well. So when they turn it back down to the level where we're not kicking health beans, they make it through. And then as soon as we see the cold storage, the cold, you break the cold conditions, like somewhere around the transport line, it will blow up post-harvest. And so when we were first looking at this, we found two fungal pathogens. One was alternata, and the other was Plectosporium tavicina. And the reason why this might be important is that Plectosporium is more aggressive than alternaria. And so the question that came from the growers is like, why are we starting to see this spot more often?
Yeah.
So one hypothesis we have is that there's a different fungal species that's moved in that's more aggressive and is now taking over. Another one is that we have strobularin resistance in our alternaria because we've hit it with quadrus too many times, and that's why we're losing control. So yeah, that's kind of the project. So then we're also kind of working through which fungicides would be best on each one of those pathogens.
So how does this, in my goings around, found some, just like you called a couple weeks ago, found some white mold. So, but that's not the same as the brown spotting.
Right. So the white mold is, sometimes we use the term white mold, or I've noticed that our snapping growers use the term white mold to describe anything with white mycelium growth. And so white mold itself is caused by a pathogen that likes it cool. So if we are starting to see white mold growth in the heat of the summer, it's probably not white mold, and it's probably Pythium. Could be southern blight, but seems a little bit rarer around here than Pythium.
Right.
And that's a quick, the scouts will tell you that's a quick and easy one to bring to Doug, and he can look under the microscope, and
Yeah.
we can give you in and out the door in one sitting.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's different. These are just these we don't really find the pathogen elsewhere on the plant. We're just seeing it on the pods. It could be hanging out somewhere. But it's on the pods. They're small specks or spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at the station we used to tend to get white mold more like in the fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did see it. We found one field where if you send us out to any field, we'll find disease. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the Eastern Shore. So.
yeah. So we went out to one looking for the spot, and we found some white mold pods
Yeah.
with sclerotia on them right at the very start of snap bean harvest on
Right.
the shore. But that was rolling into hot weather, and that we don't need to be concerned with that disease beyond that.
Right.
Like, so,
Right.
yeah.
No, I did find. I thought about you when I saw it. I was like, oh, Doug said this was here, and here it is, and here it is. But speaking of mold and cold and weather, we did get a lovely rain today.
We did. It's still raining.
It is.
Yeah.
They
I think
did
up here, but not
I was going to say
down south.
abnormal, because normally Northampton gets most of the good rains and Accomack misses out. But in this case, Accomack, or at least the radar said Accomack's getting some good rains and Northampton is missing out. But the rains right now with corn tasseling is key.
Yeah.
Super key.
Yeah, so I mean, I had some stats on this. Actually.
Oh, I love
yeah.
that.
I know you told me don't talk about corn.
No, who said that?
You said don't talk about
Not field corn, but we love sweet corn.
Well, this is field corn,
Oh, okay.
but yeah.
That's fine.
So of course we know tasseling's the most important time for yield, not only for just the water for growing the biomass for the crop, the seed, but also for pollination. Actually, the
yes.
rain helps with the pollination.
Absolutely.
Not just windborne. The rain can help
Yes.
get that pollen down into the ear silk. But during tasseling, we need about a 1/4 inch a day. So it's about 1.6 inches a week,
Oh.
ideally. So yeah, and there's no replacement for rain.
No, correct.
You can irrigate, and 2 inches of irrigation is not the same as 2 inches of
Correct.
rainfall. So
Right.
yeah. So this rain is ideal for a lot of our Eastern Shore corn, which has been suffering the last week.
It has.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of curling, and a lot of going back to snap beans. Had some loss, some acreage loss, because it late planted. And they were, and it was doing all of its growing, or it was trying to do all of its growing during that 2 weeks of incredible heat. And so there's been, I guess it was like I reported about 100 acres lost that they just up and didn't even pick, too short and dry, just because. And that's just timing. That's just the way. That's farming, right? You're putting seed in the ground and hoping that it comes up and praying.
I mean, you'll also see with those snap beans when it gets that hot, the pods won't fill out. You'll have
Yes.
like one big seam. You'll see the banana-shaped pods,
Yes.
and so once it gets that hot, it's just not good for
It was ugly hot. It'd been hotter than it was in a long time. So and I think this is the summertime in the Eastern Shore. I think we're supposed to have some good rain for the rest of the week, maybe, or at least that's what I saw last night.
I think so. It changes all the time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
This is a minute by minute. I know I can remember growing up, it was like we all would do you remember a DTN machine?
I do.
It was like a computer, but dedicated only to weather.
Yep.
And it was a subscription service. This was before we had computers in the house. So my dad had one, and we'd have a DTN machine, and somebody was always like Dad. They weren't cell phones, so he would radio in on the CB. He would radio in, and he'd be like, "Go upstairs and check the weather." And so we'd run upstairs and check the weather, and then radio back yellows, greens, reds. Is something's breaking up? So anyway, this.
Yeah, we need a CB system here at the station.
We do, yeah.
That would be
I want to
so
communicate
fun.
office to office with Kemper.
We could talk to y'all all the time.
All the
Yeah.
time.
All the time, yeah.
It would be. I would love to sit in on that conversation. That is a whole event. But that was pre-cell phone.
So with the dry weather on the corn, the silk channel, are we at a point where we've been delayed for pollination, and the silk channels have been staying open for an extended period of time? Yeah.
I would say yields hurt. I can't predict how much, but yeah, that 100-degree Fahrenheit week was at the absolute worst wrong time.
I mean, truly.
This is, we talk about like, last year we saw a bunch of corn smut. And
Yes.
it's like, I always talk about it as a perfect storm, but what you're describing to me sounds like we'll see corn smut again this year, because what happens is corn smut is the spore works its way in through the silk channels. So
Yes.
plants are most susceptible when they stay open for a long period of time, and then we get a little bit of rain.
Yes.
That then causes the spores to.
But where does it come from? Like, where's that spore?
It's sitting in the residues in the soil.
Some
It's
from like,
overwintered. Yeah. I know you don't like to hear about pathogens and residues.
I know,
but,
because
like,
I'm still a no-till person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you plant
in
pathologists
there,
are
it's in
anti-no-till, anti-conservation
not true
tillage.
at all. Not true at all. It's actually, I see it as job security.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good way to look at it.
Douglas.
It's the same for us entomology folks.
Yeah. You don't like conservation tillage either?
Well, I do like it, but then you got the slugs and cutworm.
Oh, it causes
Yeah.
something else to go wrong. That's for sure. I still want to see that data from that soybean cover crop trial we completed. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be coming up soon.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, like the benefit of the soil conservation's got to outweigh some extra input management costs, right? Like,
Absolutely.
That's what it comes down
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're right.
We don't take sides, but
Clearly,
weed
VJ's
science
got
is
his-
good actually, whatever conditions, tilled or not tilled.
So diplomatic.
We find a way.
You can find a way. There you go.
that.
All right,
I
like
love
it,
that.
BJ.
You're
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Okay, so, but really, I think those were the two big ones. Snaps and potatoes right now. Soybeans have gone in. Have you looked at any cotton riding around down the road? Because I know I don't have any up here in Accomack.
Yeah, I'm seeing some squaring happening. Yeah, I mean,
There's not too much acreage down the road.
Yeah.
What about peanuts?
what's that?
Peanuts?
No peanuts here.
No peanuts here.
No, I mean
Across the bay.
Yeah.
Oh, across the bay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard some reports of peanut burrower bug from Tim Bryan and Dominic Reisig. It's a new upcoming pest. We lost chlorpyrifos, which was widely used insecticide across a lot of different commodities, but it was critical for our peanut production. And so, I'm not going to hit on peanuts too much because I focus on vegetables. But we lost chlorpyrifos, and we quite literally don't have really any other effective soil chemistries for burrower bugs. So if you have an infestation, there's nothing you can really do, and you're just going to have an economic loss.
Right.
Wow.
I can cover some of the weed management issues in peanuts.
Let's do
And
it.
Also, since I cover peanuts in general, and also growers who are interested and would like to have a specific answers to their questions regarding peanut weed management, they can approach me. We have seen like the sedges is a normal problem everywhere, whatever crop you talk about. But in peanut, if you have that whatever options we have is the imidazopyr, which is a pursuit, basacran, and cadre herbicide.
Is
You
there a
can mix it-
difference, VJ, amongst those in
Yeah,
efficacy?
because-
Because that's
yes.
just like public enemy number one.
Yeah. So, like for example, in soybean, if we have STS trait soybean, then we recommend the Sandia. No, like
Right.
we don't have option over here. So, we do recommend to mix it with the crop oil concentrate or NIS. If your crop is not stressed, go with COC. But if crop is stressed, don't go with COC. Just use NIS, that is non-ionic surfactant. For grasses, that's a very excellent herbicide for all of these cropping systems. That's Select Max and Post or Post Plus herbicide, which growers can use. Now the question would come regarding the Group 2 resistant Palmer Amaranth, especially at the late stage. If they are not able to control it early, then what options they would have? They can use Vitrac, which is 2,4-DB combination with either Cobra or Ultra Blazer. It would not kill Palmer Amaranth, and suppression would be around 50-60%, but it would give edge to peanut so that they can start growing faster and would start, weeds would be slowed down. So that's the options we have.
Is there anything you can do? So I'm not going to tell you how many weeks I spent chopping peanuts when I was younger from escape weeds, pulling 3-4 foot tall weeds. Once they're that big, is there anything you can do?
These are the options like which I indicated, Bitrec, Cobra, or Ultra Blazer. They would suppress it.
Even
they would
when
not be
even
able to
when they're
kill it
that
at-
big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're that big, you would still
Like
spray.
up to 8 or 12 inches.
So if they're 4 foot tall,
No,
you just need to get
sorry.
out there with a hoe
No.
and pull
Golly,
them. And
Mark.
Mark, I used to be there too. I used to chop weeds for Texas Pete peppers in North Carolina, and it would be pigweed trees, like 3 inches in diameter or bigger. So
How old were you when you did this?
I was like 18.
18.
Yeah.
Oh,
My
yeah.
first summer job was chopping weeds
Wow.
at a pepper field in North
Yeah.
Carolina.
I used to get paid with soda. Yeah, I was like
Paid with
12.
soda?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got
14.
nothing.
Yeah.
0 things.
Yeah.
Not even soda.
Yeah,
Just milk
bologna
only.
sandwich and
Was it
Mountain Dew.
lunch?
any
I got
particular
fed.
soda? Any particular soda that was like
Mountain Dew.
Mountain
I
Dew?
love that.
Yeah.
Not that we like Mountain Dew over any other soda.
We
But, yeah.
definitely might, but there's that.
But if Palmer Amaranth is not producing seeds by that time, it's still recommended to apply something so that seeds would not
Yeah.
mature, or otherwise next year there would be a lot of weeds.
Or at least chop it down, right? I mean, how many seeds does one plant produce?
500,000 to 1 million seeds.
So 1 million seeds per plant.
Yeah.
So if you see it out there, really get out there and pull
Exactly.
it, joking aside.
And that's why many growers now, still in experiment stage in many other crops, but people are using the electrocution method, like electro weeders. They would actually can kill the standing weeds, like the larger weeds, would not allow at least to produce seeds.
Do people still use like wicks on the back of the tractor? Because when we did peppers, we would chop a lot, but then they would bring a boom on the back basically that would have a soaked wick that would go over the
yeah.
top of the pig.
With like glyphosate or something in it.
Yeah, it would have glyphosate or something in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they still
or
use
a
that.
paraquat or like
Yeah.
Gramoxone herbicide.
Yeah.
Yes, there are several of these way outs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, kill the weed, no matter how big it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hit them early.
So if the plant still like is started to develop its seed and you chop it down, will it complete the seed cycle, or is it like is there a point where it's too late?
It depends on the herbicide you are using. One study was conducted at Texas A&M. I don't remember the clear results, but there were some differences if you are using glyphosate or paraquat or some other herbicides. Few herbicides would let it mature those seeds, and some would just disconnect the seed. Maybe I think what I remember, the paraquat would still allow it because it would just burn, but the seeds would still continue that. Glyphosate is more, since it's a translocated herbicide, so we could see seeds, but those are even different maturity levels.
Quit looking at us. Look at the mic.
Just look at me out the corner of your eye. Yeah.
You have lovely faces, so I would just
I
look
love
towards you guys instead of looking at the mic. You know?
That's right. All right, what else do we know?
I don't know.
I know, right? It's like it's that weird time where it's like slow but not slow at all. Like there's so many things being done, but you're kind of, as far as our jobs go with the identification and remediation plans, during harvest season, it's looking and seeing the fruit and then deciding, well, it's kind of like the snap bean issue with the brown spot. You're like, well, what can we do about this for next year?
Yeah.
So,
Can I talk about soybeans? Is that allowed?
Mark, you can, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Ridiculousness.
I know Helen was working on a post with soybean tissue testing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw that post. It came out.
That's your
Yeah.
that's
He
your
threw you a
your
volleyball.
publication.
He threw you
Mark.
a volleyball.
This is something that you and Carrie have been working on together.
Actually, go back and listen to last week's podcast if you haven't.
Yeah.
Carrie Ortel was our guest, and she did an awesome job explaining how to take soybean tissue samples. Because right now, as we mentioned, everything's planted for the most part. We're harvesting, but for crops in the field, we're still in that crop protectant phase where we can still apply some nutrients if needed. Don't just go out there and apply nutrients if you don't think you need them, but certainly tissue tests can help as long as you don't do it. You follow the label and don't do it during a very hot day. You can cause some injury, but go back and listen to last week's podcast. I think it was week 6, and
Have some info.
and re-listen to Carrie explain how to take a soybean tissue test especially for potassium. And another nutrient you might be looking at is some manganese deficiencies at this time. We're ideal. You can incorporate manganese with herbicides, insecticides. By the time you work on fungicides, it's probably a little too late if you go that route. But certainly manganese is something to take a look at. If your soil pH is high, or if it's droughty, or if it's really sandy, manganese might be some issues. If your top soybean plants are the leaves are yellow,
Right.
that'll be the top yellow. If the bottom's yellow, it's something else. It might be potassium
Yeah.
or nematodes. Always look at the roots.
One thing that I remember from that, what you guys published, is about removing the petiole from the tissue sampling. Can you? So you recommend to remove the petiole, but your lab may still.
Follow the lab. You need to follow whatever private lab you're using. Virginia Tech does not analyze tissue tests, so you must use a private lab. There's several awesome ones that we use here at Virginia Tech. We send them out for research projects or for troubleshooting. But just make sure you follow the lab's directions. Some calibration curves are designed for with the petiole, and some are designed for just the leaf tissue, not the petiole. So it really depends on what lab you want to use. And this publication Dr. Ortel is working on, that'll really help with that. So, yeah.
Right.
Regarding herbicide resistance, we are evaluating a scenario where if grower has utilized Callisto-based herbicides or Callisto herbicide which has a mesotrine in it, and if they see they are not able to control Palmer Amaranth, please let us know. Few other states have reported resistance to in Palmer Amaranth to that herbicide, and we would like to know what's the status in our state. So any grower who have used Callisto and not able to control Palmer Amaranth, please let us know. We would sample it.
Vijay, how do you go about determining the resistance? Is it just a phenotype assay, or do you run a genetic test?
Both.
Cool.
All right, explain that. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
We
So
don't do
like phenotype
assays.
means like how does the plant or the fungus or the insect respond like physically that you can see to the pesticide, right? So in the case of like weeds, it probably won't. The plant would continue to grow in the case of being exposed to the herbicide.
And then we conduct like a DNA analysis, basically gene analysis, to see if there are any mutations or there is any metabolic resistance kind of, which will provide us the confirmation and also the reason behind it, why it's resistant.
Yeah, because for instance, like I don't know, and you can step in how it may differ in your field, BJ, but in my field, like what we want to see when we call something resistant is we want to see the population change over time. So sometimes when you first sample something, like there's some natural variation in how it would respond. So then to distinguish that from the natural variation to a true response of being resistance, you need to hit another time point in sampling. But if you don't have that other time point, or you don't have the baseline data to go on, the genetic markers, if available, can then offer that additional evidence to call it resistant, right? Because if you see the change in the DNA, that would confer resistance.
Yeah, so resistance would evolve, or you would start seeing that it's evolving if out of hundreds of seeds, maybe one seed is just showing some kind of tolerance or resistance. But average in terms of the resistance profile, we can say that there is a resistance in our state or in this region when we are collecting a lot of samples, and 20%, 30%, 50% on an average would consistently show that in all of those. So that depends on the sampling also, how you are sampling. If you are sampling together all plants from that particular field, or you are sampling one by one, like one single plant at a time. So these two sampling method would also determine the approach we are adopting to screen for resistance.
Interesting. How many? This is a bad question to ask live with no preparation.
Those are the greatest ones.
Yeah. How many weeds do we have resistance here in Virginia? I know there's a database you can look in, but
Yeah, so it is not just about one weed resistant to herbicide, but it is also about one weed resistant to several of the herbicides.
I see. Yeah.
So we have confirmed resistance in Palmer amaranth, common lamb squatters, common ragweed, Italian ryegrass, and there are, I think, one or two more.
Okay. All on the shore or in Virginia or both?
Both ways.
Okay.
Most of those resistance actually came from our region, from Eastern Shore, because of the corn, soybean, and this
The rotation.
rotation and intensive use of
No-till.
herbicides.
Not to imply that the Eastern Shore is not in Virginia, but yeah.
You're definitely in Virginia. What? Who said that? Switching gears a little bit, did we talk about a date for the field day?
I know there's probably going to be 3 days that works for everybody, and I'll send them out. And if you guys had something in one of those 3 days, there's a 67% chance the other 2 are going to work.
I love that. I love that.
Now that should go in the blooper reel.
Now that is for real.
Yeah.
It's for real.
Alana, delete this discussion on that field day industry day, right?
I think
Yeah.
everybody has said that at least once.
There's an upcoming date and like some of the conversation about
No,
it.
just-
Unless there's something really funny, then you can pull it out. But otherwise,
That's
just
a
trim
private
it.
discussion.
I think leave the 67%. Yeah, let's put
We're
that.
just talking about random dates. Like you need a date.
Yeah, you need a date. It's a 67%
Chance.
chance. There's 2 other dates will work.
There's that. Hopefully.
Do you guys think before the podcast is fully over, we can do voice intros?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we
definitely.
didn't really do that.
No, we didn't.
Well, that's
but
fine.
that's the beauty of Alana. She will handle it for us.
But look at Helen. She doesn't like it.
I know, we went out
No
of
agenda.
order. Yeah.
She's just.
She is suffering over here. She-
Yeah.
This is free
It's tough for
form,
me.
free form jazz.
Freeform is not here. She is not here for it. No. Don't forget, the stalk is coming out this week. In fact, as soon as we get some updates from
It's
the
coming.
AREC,
It's coming.
it will be published. So if you 3 would like to
Awesome.
send us something by like tonight, that would be great.
I
Otherwise,
have until tonight. Oh, okay.
no.
Is there an option to sit this one out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. You can sit this one out if you don't want to go and write something up very fast.
Okay.
Not a problem. But Stalk's coming out. Got a bunch of updates in there, also including the Accomack and Northampton household water quality program. So I know if y'all want to get your well water tested, that's a great time to do it. And Helen and I, Accomack people will have a link. So if your home is in Accomack, you'll register through that link. If your home is in Northampton, there's one. That's all in the Stalk. Please read it. Let us know. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns or great ideas for either our newsletter or our podcast. We always love to get some great ideas.
I got another announcement.
Oh, go ahead.
I didn't know how to stop you. I was like, hey.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah. No, so also we hope you join us at the Virginia Egg Expo on August 7th over in Locust Grove, Virginia. So I think all of us are going to be there in different areas.
Capacities, yeah.
So there's an agronomy area where we'll be setting up some research, hands-on demonstrations. The Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture will also be there talking about the cost share programs for that we're involved with. But we hope you can join us there. It'll be a little different this year where there will be some animal components as well. So this farm actually has cattle. So typically Egg Expo's corn, soybean focus, but this year we have some livestock to talk about too. So
It's exciting.
yeah,
Excellent.
a couple soil pits, which is always a favorite. So
Of course, Mark. Helen, I know you've got some programs coming up for Northampton. Cut Flower. You've got Perk Up and Learn Coffee Hour.
Yes, and this month it's going to be working with DCR and the Plant Eastern Shore natives.
Very good.
So
Yes.
we're going to be talking all about Eastern Shore native plants, and that's on July 18th from 9 to 10 a.m. at Buttercups.
And you're going to have Shannon Alexander there from DCR?
Yes, absolutely, and some of the Plant Eastern Shore Natives committee members as well.
Excellent. Anything else from you guys? Any updates? I know it's harvest season, so we're just like observing.
They
We're in
want to go to the
observation
field.
mode.
Well, actually, it's raining today, so
I know.
go crunch some data.
Right.
We're still in the field. We
Are
picked
you in the
cucumbers.
rain?
Yeah, we picked cucumbers in the rain
Poor
today.
Casey. Yeah.
Aw.
Well,
It's got to get done.
Yeah.
Gotta get somebody's got to do it. You're right.
I was out there too.
Good job, Kemper. Thank you for joining us this week on CabCast, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to CabCast, your front row seat to the future of farming. Brought to you by Virginia Cooperative Extension and the Eastern Shore Agricultural Research and Extension Center. We're here to keep you informed, inspired, and connected to the land and the science that drives it. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more.